Chapter 1084. The power of that attack dimmed the sky. The raging spiritual blade energy slashed across the air and caused a cloud explosion when it hit the huge rock. The loud sound echoed through the mountains as the rock was smashed to bits, with dust flying everywhere. The man maintained his offensive stance as he observed the dust cloud, which settled after some time. Wilbur held onto the historical halberd. It was ignited with spiritual flames in front of his chest, and he was completely unharmed. The man was surprised and nonchalantly commented, "There aren't many people in Manand who could block my attack." "It's probably not your best shot," said Wilbur while smiling. The man retrieved his sword and pointed the blade at the ground. He said coldly, "That's right. I haven't seen a worthy opponent in a while. How should I address you?" "Wilbur Penn." "What about you?" "Shepherd Goth." "That's a rare surname." "My surname is from Dasha." "I can tell." Shepherd pointed his longsword at Wilbur. He said nonchalantly, "Come and fight me since you're here." "I'm not here to fight," Wilbur replied with a frown. Shepherd said, "You sneaked up on me at night, so I'm afraid you don't have a choice." Wilbur wanted to explain himself, but Shepherd's longsword abruptly ignited in spiritual flames. A powerful and terrifying pressure instantly spread across the hill. The mountain breeze instantly turned into howling winds as the sword slashed past, creating a terrifying sound. Wilbur smiled faintly. The spiritual flames on the historical halberd erupted, and his spiritual pressure also spread outward. Shepherd nodded with satisfaction. Then, he made a slashing attack, the blade energy sword, and he quickly followed the blade energy as it flew toward Wilbur. Wilbur slashed through the blade energy with a swing of the historical halberd. However, Shepherd had arrived in front of him. He wielded his longsword masterfully and attacked Wilbur from varying angles. Wilbur fought back with his historical halberd. Both weapons clashed against each other, creating constant explosions. As they did, spiritual energy dissipated everywhere. Wilbur was marvelous with his godly training form. His skills were unexpectedly fantastic. However, Shepherd had mastered using his longsword, so his moves were also flawless. Wilbur could not believe that he was able to fight back. Wilbur was surprised by Shepherd's skillfulness in combat. Those combat skills alone could make him an elite expert, regardless of his cultivation. Wilbur also surprised Shepherd with his combat skills, which brought an unexpected look of joy onto Shepherd's cold face. However, his attacks only grew more ferocious. The longsword carried a raging spiritual energy, and each of his varied forms of attacks was lethal. Each attack transitioned into another like an art form. He was extremely graceful and flawless, as though he was creating art with his moves. Aside from Wilbur, no one else could put up a fight against Shepherd, even if they were on the same cultivation level. His blade attacks were poetic yet violent. Wilbur had a look of admiration in his eyes. He also spun around with his historical halberd to block the attacks from Shepherd. However, he occasionally threw in an attack or two as well. Shepherd gradually looked shocked. Their figures flashed about as they kept spinning and turning in a small area, like entangled shadows. Moonlight shone on the hill. Their figures crossed paths. The longsword and the historical halberd clashed against each other, which resulted in explosions, dissipating spiritual energy, and strong howling winds. They were both pushed back for roughly 10 meters after a huge clash. A few minutes into the intense battle, both parties stared at each other.